everyone, welcome back. I'm Dai, and today I will be sharing my first impressions on the Monochrome Manga Club selections for the month of December. The Monochrome Manga Club is an in-real-life manga club that I host, where we're reading 2 first-in-a-series selections, and we're currently doing 2 full series reads. So our 2 first-in-a-series selections are Volume 1 of Ramen Wolf and Curry Tiger. This one has story and art by Emboss, published by 7 Seas, rated older teen. We also read the first volume of Moriarty the Patriot. This is based on the works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, storyboards by Ryosuke Takeuchi, and art by Hikaru Miyoshi. This one is published by Viz, rated older teen. And our 2 series reads that we have been reading are Tokyo Revengers by Ken Wakui. We read volumes 29 through 31 and finished the series. This one is published by 7 Seas, rated older teen. And then we are also currently doing a series read of Haikyuu by Haruichi Furudate. This one's published by Viz, rated teen, and we read volumes 40, 41, and 42. As neither of these series are in the beginning of their runs, I will not be sharing my thoughts with you on them in this video, but if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on these volumes, you can check out my Thesis 19 Diaries. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and start off with my thoughts on Ramen Wolf and Curry Tiger. So this is basically a story about these 2 friends here on the cover enjoying food together. That's basically what we have here in this first volume. So our wolf character is someone who really enjoys ramen. Like, to the point where if he knows that they are going out for ramen, he will not eat breakfast so that he can save stomach room to eat good ramen. And so he often goes to eat ramen with his friend here, Tiger, whose name isn't actually Curry Tiger, but they do enjoy several meals together in this volume. They do also have curry in this volume, so ramen is not the only thing that they eat. And they also meet up with a couple of other friends in this volume as well. And so it really is a lot of story about just friends getting together, enjoying food, at least as far as this first volume goes. So I really enjoyed like the friendship and the food and kind of banter that they had with their friends and with each other. There does seem to be kind of a serious backstory with our tiger character here. And it seems to have a bit of trauma attached to it, but it's a little bit hard to kind of put my finger on what exactly was going on, because we're kind of seeing it in like nightmares that he's having. And so I'm not quite sure where we are going with that, or how that is going to take shape as far as where this story is going to go. Because this volume really makes it feel like it's going to be a bunch of friends getting together, enjoying food, and having a good time. But now I'm a little bit curious about that like serious note we're kind of getting introduced to, and what that has to do with where the story is going forward. So I enjoyed this enough that I would read another volume of this if I saw it like at my library. I don't know that I want to invest in buying more volumes of this though. It definitely was one of those things where I wasn't even sure while I was reading it that it was a first in a series volume, because without those nightmare scenes, it feels like this is one of those things where you could just like check in with these characters, have a good time, enjoy some food together, and then see you later, type of story. But that's not where this is going, I don't think. So especially with this being a volume 1 anyway. So yeah, that's not to say that I won't find interest in picking up another volume when I'm at the store. It might be something that catches my eye. Maybe if I pick it up and read the summary for the second volume, I might be more intrigued to pick up another volume. But as of right now, I think I would only continue with the series if it was available to read from my library or on some kind of app. But with this being 7 Seas, probably not. be available on an app. But in any case, it was enjoyable, and I thought that the characters looked really cute, the food looked really delectable and yummy, and so yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on this first volume of Curry Wolf, Ramen Wolf and Curry Tiger. And so now let's talk about Moriarty. So in this one, we're basically kind of following the life of Moriarty as he's growing up from when he was a kid through his teenage years, at least in this first volume, based on the Sherlock Holmes stories, right, by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I wasn't too sure like where we were going when we were reading this, because it basically follows Moriarty, like I said, when he was a kid. Him and his younger brother get adopted into a wealthy family, and that family, besides the eldest brother of that family, who is kind of pivotal as far as them bringing them into the family, everybody else in the family treats them poorly, and they get physically abused really badly. Moriarty and his brother had come from an orphanage, so they're looked down upon as far as the hierarchy of society. And we basically follow him kind of becoming a vigilante. There are a few different cases in this particular volume where you see people from lower classes being mistreated by the wealthy, and then Moriarty going and taking revenge on their behalf. That's kind of the gist of what we get in this first volume, and it starts with his situation when he was a kid and the family that is abusing him at the beginning. And so I will say that this was never one of those series that was on my radar to read. I'm not a big classics reader, and while I do enjoy the kind of Sherlock Holmes retellings that I've experienced on TV, such as Elementary or Watson, I don't really enjoy as far as reading the classic novels. I've read a few and they're enjoyable enough, but it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to read more. So when I had initially heard about the series, I wasn't interested because, again, it's based on the classics and it's set in historical times. And again, that's not a setting that I really enjoy. And so I didn't really have much hope as far as being able to enjoy this series or it being one that I would want to continue. I was kind of talked into it by my manga club members because I have a couple of them who really enjoy the series. And so I thought, you know what, let's give it a go. They were bringing it up as a first in a series selection because they wanted to share their love of this series with us. And so I went ahead and decided to go ahead and make it a first in a series selection. And I will say I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to. It definitely wasn't one of those volumes where I was like, oh my gosh, I need to know more. Again, kind of the same feeling I had with Ramen Wolf and Curry Tiger. But there is a little bit more of a pull because after talking with my members, they were able to tell me a couple of things that come up in future volumes. They also told me that they didn't feel like this first volume was a very good representation of what the entire series thus far has been for them. And so this probably wasn't the best kind of introductory volume to the series. Now, I did find some enjoyment in this volume, but a lot of my kind of unenjoyment with this volume had to do with the fact that you see people being abused by people in higher levels of society, and it's something that I feel is too close to what's going on in today's world. And with the things that had happened in this volume I was just, it really kind of brought me down. I didn't enjoy what I was reading at all with these people. Now, with that being said, I enjoyed seeing them get their comeuppance. And I'm interested in like how Moriarty's brain works, because I think that was probably the most interesting part for me, was actually seeing him working these cases and formulating those plans to get back at these people and how he goes about it. There's also a couple of other characters that we get to meet towards the end of the volume that end up kind of helping him do what he does. And those characters are very interesting to me. But the cases here, while they were interesting, have a lot to do with people, being abused by people who think that they're better than them just because they have more money. And I did not enjoy that at all. It's one of the things that I really can't stand about historical settings. And that's why I don't read a lot of them. It just brings out some anger in me. And so, yeah, especially with how things are going right now in the world, I think that didn't help either. And so, yeah. I do believe that I will be continuing with this series because I'm not going to be purchasing volumes of it. I do have a Shonen Jump subscription, and so this was available on the subscription for us to read, and so I will continue to read on the subscription since it's something that I already have to read other things with. It's not like I'm actually spending additional money to continue with this one. And so, yeah, my club members ensured me that I should probably read another few volumes to get a better idea of what this story has to offer going forward. And so I'm going to take up their recommendation and do that. But this first volume, it was okay. It was okay. And if I didn't have anybody else to like kind of give me that assurance that it gets much better and that this wasn't a very good representation of the series, I probably would have stopped here. But it's one of the good things about having a manga club and being able to talk to people about things like this, because I definitely wouldn't have even considered continuing with this one had I not talked to them about it. Unfortunately, both of the volumes that we read this month for the club were only 3-star reads, but I did enjoy myself while I was reading them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of next month's selections. So with that being said, I do want to let you know what we will be reading for the month of January. Okay, so with February bringing another round of the Olympics, I thought it would be fun to read some sports manga that's kind of related to Olympic sports. And so we will be reading, as far as our first in a series selections, the first volume of Medalist, which is by Suru Maikata. And this one is published by Kodansha Rated Teen. And so this one is about Inari, who is a little girl who dreams of becoming a figure skater. Yet there are obstacles to this dream. Some feel Inari is already too old. She's 11. She's always had trouble at school, and worst of all, her older sister's skating dreams ended in failure. So her mother is dead set against putting her other daughter through a similar experience. Still, the rink is the only place Inari can be herself, and she's out on the ice when a fateful meeting takes place. Tsukasa, a frustrated coach on the edge of giving up competitive skating himself, will join Inari to form an unstoppable duo powered by hard work, transcendent joy, and an unshakable belief that they can prove everyone wrong. So I have been meaning to read this one for a while, and since it is figure skating, definitely one of those Olympic sports that I enjoy watching. I do have this one digitally from a Humble Bundle that I had picked up, so I will be reading that digitally, but I can see through the library extension app on my browser that this one is also available digitally and physically from my library. So make sure to check to see if your library has those offered as well. The library extension app is a great way for me to see immediately when I'm browsing websites such as Goodreads and anywhere else that I have books if something is available for me to borrow from my library. And so if you don't know about that, definitely check that out. But that is going to be our first in a series read. And then our second first in a series read is Dogs Red by Satoru Noda. This one is published by Viz and rated teen. So this one says, after winning the national championship, 15-year-old figure skater Ro Shirakawa was on his way to the Olympics. But with his mother's tragic death on his mind, he threw it all away in an outburst of rage. Banned from figure skating, he and his sister moved to Hokkaido. When he meets some local kids at the skating pond, they convince him to fill in on their soon-to-be-disbanded junior high school hockey team. The team has never won a game, and they're up against the local champs. But if they've got to go down, they want to score at least one goal before it's all over. Ro hasn't got a clue how to play ice hockey, but he sure knows how to skate. And so I thought this one sounded very interesting, especially because it kind of gives me Mighty Ducks vibes. And if you've watched the Mighty Ducks, you know that in the second Mighty Ducks movie, they do pick up a figure skater who becomes part of the team. And so I thought this one sounded really interesting. We will be reading this one on the Shonen Jump app, but it is available physically as well. And so I'm really, really looking forward to both of our first in a series selections. And with that, we will also be doing our series reads. So we will actually be finishing Haikyuu in January. So we'll read volumes 43, 44, and 45. I probably should have warned you that those covers would be spoilery, but it is what it is. Really, really looking forward to finishing my reread of this series. Just some really, really interesting things happening here. And I'm really loving the fact that we get to spend so much time with our characters, seeing what they are up to after high school in these volumes. And so, yes, really, really enjoying the series. Looking forward to finishing my reread and finishing another series with the Manga Club. And so because we have finished Tokyo Revengers, we will be starting a new series in the month of January. So after long deliberations with my Manga Club members, we have decided that the series that we will be reading will be Dr. Stone. This is by Riichiro Inagaki with illustrations by Boichi. This one is published by Viz, rated teen. So this one says, imagine waking to a world where every last human has been mysteriously turned to stone. One fateful day, all of humanity turned to stone. Many millennia later, Taiju frees himself from the petrification and finds himself surrounded by statues. The situation looks grim until he runs into his science-loving friend, Senku. Together, they plan to restart civilization with the power of science. There is a little bit more to that summary, but I think I'm going to leave it there. This is definitely a series that I'm familiar with. My daughter has been watching the anime, and so I know a little bit about where this story goes. I've also watched most of the first season and enjoyed it. It's definitely very, very science heavy. And so I'm really interested to see how that's going to translate onto page. But we will be reading volumes 1, 2, and 3 for the first month. And then so that we can finish this series by the end of 2026, we will also be reading 3 volumes in the month of February and then going down to 2 volumes per month starting in March. And so if you'd like to read with us, you can definitely do that. Or if you want to read any of our selections and talk to us about it, you can definitely do so either by letting me know what your thoughts were on the volumes in videos like these in the comments below, or you can check out our Discord, which is linked in the description box below. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these or what you thought of it. Will you be joining us for Dr. Stone or our 2 first in a series selections? Are you going to be watching the Olympics? And if so, what are your favorite Olympic sports to watch? And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a snowflake emoji, down in the comments below. It would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.